Well, hello people of the internet, my name is Kevin and welcome back to another video. Okay, so for today's video, I'm going to be doing a review of my favourite books in the whole world. If you watch my videos on my channel, you will know that I rave about these books, and that is Fire and Flood and Salt and Stone, both by Victoria Scott. Now, if you have been subscribed to my channel since I first started, you will know that I already have a review up for Fire and Flood, but I have that video on private because it's so embarrassing and I hate it so much. So that video is on private now. Thank God, no one needs to see that. Just no one ever needs to see that. So I'm doing an updated version, and I'm going to include the second book of Salt and Stone. And this is going to be a non-spoilerish review because I want everyone to read these books because they deserve so much more hype than what they have. Okay, so the first book is called Fire and Flood, and it's by Victoria Scott. And this book follows a girl named Tella who has a younger brother that is dying of cancer. One day, Tella gets a message on her bed and it has an earpiece in it, and she puts the earpiece into her ear and it tells her that she has been invited to take part in the Brimstone Bleed, and that is a race across 4 different biomes or ecosystems in order to win a cure, and the cure will cure any illness. Now, in this race, you get these companions to help you or aid you along in the race to make sure you make it to the end or to just help you survive. And these are called Pandoras. These Pandoras can be any animal. They can go from a lion to a fox to an eagle, and they all have a special ability, like they can breathe fire, they can shape-shift, all that kind of stuff. So every contestant has one of these Pandoras to help them take part in the race. So the first book follows the first 2 biomes, and that is forest and desert, and we meet new contestants and they all join together with Tella to form like a group. This group works together then to make sure they make it to the end of that biome, and so they can move on to the next stage of the race. Okay, so that is pretty much it without going into spoilers about this book. The pace of this book is so fast paced. If you were a fan of fast paced books, this is definitely a book for you. There's not a dull moment in this book. It's just constantly on the go. And the chapters are short, so it also makes it just go by fast and quick. I see this story as being a very unique story because it follows like Pokemon kind of theme, which I've never seen in a book before, and an actual race. Like, I've never read a book that has to do with racing. And people would say that this book is very similar to The Hunger Games, and I see where they're getting from that with the contestants part, but it's not it's not like a fight to the death. It's a race, and people may die along the way, they may not die. The writing is just so easily to read, so fast paced, I've already said. The characters are all complex characters and really likeable characters. From the very get-go, you feel sorry for Tella's brother, Cody, and you learned to love Tella. At the beginning you find her quite annoying, but at the end of the book you will absolutely love her and she'll be one of your new favourite characters. And I think that's a really good way with like character development that Victoria Scott does. At the beginning we have like a kind of hatred towards her, but by the end of it we love her. So we see like a good character development throughout the book to make us end up loving her in the end. There are other characters such as Guy, which is the love interest in this book. He is a very typical male character, but he's also a really good character. He's a nice mysterious bad boy type guy, and he's a really good character in this book. I really enjoy him. There are a pair of twins in this, and they're called Levi and Ransom, and they really remind me of Fred and George from the Harry Potter series, and they're as funny as them and as lovable as them. So if you love them kind of characters and you want like a twin kind of duo pair, this book has that. And the characters, as I've said, there are just so many likeable characters and you love them all, and you just don't want anything to happen to any of them, and they're just such likeable characters. The love in this book is kind of insta-love, but I do not see it as kind of insta-love. I don't know why. It really is like a perfect example of insta-love, but I just don't see it as insta-love for some reason, and I do not know why. I know many other people that will believe that this is insta-love, but I really love the actual romantic interests in this, and it didn't bother me. And I'm usually not a big fan of relationships or romance in books, but I didn't mind it in this book. I really enjoyed it. Overall, this book is just so fast paced, so entertaining. You are hooked from the get-go, and you read the book so fast, and it's just so entertaining. The Pandoras are so lovable. You will want one by the end of the book. It's just such an amazing book, and I give it 5 out of 5 stars. Obviously, I absolutely love this and I rave about it so much, and so many people need to read this book. Okay, so the second book in this series is called Salt and Stone, and it continues on exactly where Fire and Flood leaves off. This book follows the next two ecosystems, and that is sea and mountain. And so the race continues through the sea and through the mountains, and more stuff happens, more plot twists. It's just such a good, more adventure. It's just as good as the first book, if not better. There's a couple new characters introduced in this, and they're likeable ones. And yeah, and there's just, the Pandoras play a huge part in this book compared to the first book, and they're in it so much more. So if you love the Pandoras in the first book, you're going to love them in the second book. Ending is really left open. Like, there could be a third book, but it could also be the ending of the series. I don't think there is going to be a third book, but I really wish there was, because I just want to see more of these characters and more of this world, and I really hoped there was a third book. Maybe there might be, we don't know. If more people read it and more hype comes up around the books, maybe we'll get a third book. But I really, really hope there is, because I really enjoyed this series, and I think everyone seriously needs to read these books. So that is it for this review, guys. Let me know if you've read these books down below in the comments, or let me know if you're going to go read them now because of my review and because you think they sound very much like what you'd like to read. But other than that, I will see you guys all on Wednesday for my next video. So goodbye.